Morning. It feels like January.
I know. I'll tell you, getting out to the car early this morning, I said, whoa, not comfy. Not comfy at all.
No, where's spring?
I don't. You know what? The rest of Massachusetts, I think, is experiencing what the Cape gets, which is no spring. We go right from winter to summer. So I kind of think that's what's happening up here.
Well, then bring on summer first.
I got it. All right. Well, Holly, let me start off by asking you about our part-time governor. I've made the suggestion that maybe Manpower, Inc., or one of those other temporary agencies should take over the office of governor. What do you think?
Well, I think that's a great idea. Why did he run for re-election?
Because it's there.
This guy has not been doing his job for it was 10 days, about a week ago, that he was away. Last week he picks up and leaves the state to go for his go get funds for his political action committee. Mm-hmm. And even the lieutenant governor was out of town, so we had to leave the Secretary of State's Bill Galvin in charge. I mean, now on April 11th he's going to go for a 17-day book tour.
Yeah. 17-day book tour. Now, here's the thing I want to ask about that, because Scott Brown went on a book tour, but he made sure that he put it in between all the things that were going on in the Senate, not while the Senate was in session. This guy's taking off on a book tour. I think there's a little bit of work that needs to be done around here, don't you think?
Yeah, when he's going, though, is right during when the House debates the budget.
Mm-hmm.
So, the governor's not going to have any input. Does he not care? But, look, the governor's been taking off, and he's had a pattern of this. If you remember when the big gambling vote came up in the Massachusetts House, where he could have influenced that, he was signing the deal for the book tour.
Yeah, he was. He was out. Well, I mean, you mean signing the deal for the book, not for the tour. Right. Yeah.
Well, the tour comes with the book.
Right. Well, of course it does. Hey, we're talking with Holly Robichaud, Boston Herald columnist, about the part-time governor, Governor Webster. So he goes out on this. I mean, he's got this going. He's got a PAC going to raise money for his buddy, the president, to get reelected. He wants
to raise money for his travel, so that he can help promote, reelection, Barack Obama's reelection. I mean, that's going to be a lot of travel if he has to raise money for it.
Yeah, he is, and
that's
he says he's going to be doing some fundraising while he's out on this book tour to raise that money. Who's running the state?
Well, that would be the Lieutenant Governor, Tim Murray. Oh.
You really don't like him.
The Pillsbury Doughboy.
Oh, my God, that's awful.
Yes.
Well, all right, look. The other thing about the governor here on this tour is, who wants to buy this book? I mean, I'm being honest. Look, Scott Brown, whether you like him or not, he became a national figure and still is. I mean, many people may not be able to identify the senator from Wyoming, but they probably can identify that there's this guy, Scott Brown, in Massachusetts, who took Ted Kennedy's seat. So I would think there are people around the country who are interested. Certainly not tripping over themselves to buy his book, but interested. Who knows Deval Patrick in Massachusetts?
Well, he certainly can't write a book called Against All Odds, kind of like Scott's, okay? For a Republican to win here in Massachusetts, it's tough. For a Democrat to win, not so tough. I have these discussions with Democratic political consultants who tell me how brilliant they are because of how many races they've won in Massachusetts. I said, that's like shooting fish in a barrel. I said, when you win, as a Democratic consultant, when you go and win a race in South Carolina, then tell me you're smart.
Yeah, it's true. You're absolutely right.
For Deval Patrick saying that, he's such a miracle that he won this governor's seat. No, he's a Democrat. Had a pretty good chance of winning.
Yeah, we're talking with Holly Robichaud, folks, Boston Herald columnist. If you want to read more from Holly, you can go to WTAG.com, click on the Jim Polito page, and there's links from the show, and there's Holly. All right, Holly, campaign promises. Obviously, the governor made quite a few. My property taxes were going to be lowered.
Yeah, and 1,000 new police officers. And
Yeah.
this year, he didn't really make that many campaign promises. I mean, the only thing he said was that he wanted a graduated income tax.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
This year, he felt like he didn't even have to. He didn't even have a slogan, as far as I could tell.
I don't think so. I don't think so. But
Together We Can kind of went away.
yeah,
Turns out Together We couldn't.
No, we could not. Now, Bill Keating, on the other hand, Democratic congressman who won the seat to being vacated by William Delahunt. So Bill Keating's in that seat, and Bill Keating made all of these promises to do certain things, to be an independent. I'm reading your column today. It seems like he hasn't done any of them.
He hasn't. He's a one-dimensional Massachusetts Democrat, and he has not kept his promises. Look, he could have voted to. He said during the campaign that he was concerned about spending, but yet he continued to fund NPR. Okay, this guy. He also put on his website that he was going to be an independent Democrat, a different type of guy. But when he got up there, he voted for keeping Obamacare. I don't see where there's any an ounce of difference between Delahunt or any of the other Massachusetts Democrats. He's not independent. He's gone right into the tank and is doing just what the Democrats want him to do.
And that seems to be a pattern. We had the 13th Worcester district race out here. The seat Bob Spillane left. Oh, wait a minute. I've got to play the Bob Spillane sounder.
Act like a man! What's the matter with you?
That's just, I don't know if you've ever heard that before, Holly.
Yeah.
He came on to my colleague's show, Jordan Levy's show, when he had sort of been cleared by the Ethics Commission on something, and
Cried.
and he cried.
Yeah.
Holly. I mean, there's nothing wrong with a man.
Pulled the Boehner.
What?
Pulled the Boehner.
Yeah, there's nothing really wrong. I mean, I think it's. Do you think it's okay for a man to cry? You're a woman. Let me sidetrack here.
Not publicly.
Holly.
There's no crying in politics.
Okay, wait a minute. I mean, a touch of... Okay, let's say, Holly, you and I are at a veterans memorial, and they're playing taps, and I get a little misty. Are you going to say that I'm less of a man?
No, not on that. But
okay.
if you're cleared of an ethics charge or something like that, I mean.
Oh well, that I know. Yeah.
I mean, I guess there are some people that I want to see cry, like Sal DeMacy, and I would have liked to have seen Diane Wilkerson sobbing and a couple of others.
Well, maybe they are, but anyway. So we had, speaking of campaign promises, like you're talking in your column today, we had Paul Franco running for that seat as a Republican against John Maphony. Mahoney. And Mahoney said he was going to do things like, well, I'm not going to stand with the speaker on this one. I think we should publish the votes, publish any bill before we vote on it, at least 24 hours, yada, yada, yada. He got right to Boston. He got in lockstep with the speaker.
Oh, yeah. He didn't also want to create transparency by publishing the votes within the committee. I mean, he went right into the tank. Either he didn't know what he was voting on, or he dove into the tank. And either scenario is not great. I mean, these guys don't keep their promises. Like I said in my article today, they're all one-dimensional liberal Democrats. And they run on that they're going to be a moderate or they're going to be bipartisan, and they're not. The only person that's been bipartisan in this state has been Scott Brown. He has broken ranks with the Republicans from time to time to vote with the Democrats, making many Republicans unhappy. But for this, what does he get? He gets the governor who can't seem to keep any of his campaign promises, who can't stay in the state, can't seem to get his job done, and he's out there recruiting an opponent for Scott Brown. I think the governor should be spending more time focused in on his job than Scott Brown's.
Well, I do think that we should ask that we have a petition to just basically have the governor's office staffed by a temp staff. Let's just have a temp staff. Like, this week you may get Mary Smith. Next week it's Joe Brown. We'll just have a temp go in there.
Well, or we should at least ask him to pay back the state for the 17 days he's going to be gone, because he's going to be more focused in on selling his book and making money that way. So I don't think we need to pay him.
No, he's going to say, "Oh no, I've completely got things under control, and I'm just a phone call away, and this and that." What a load of baloney.
Scott Brown's book tour, he promised he wouldn't miss any votes, and he's kept that promise.
He did.
When Governor Romney was traveling the country, Governor Romney wasn't accepting a paycheck from the state.
Right.
Okay, we see none of.
But I still don't. Listen, I still don't like what Romney and Well did, and
no, neither do I.
And I don't like. Well, obviously,
accepting paychecks.
Right. Obviously, Dukakis did it too back.
And John Kerry.
And please don't even bring that up.
I should have said anchors away, Kerry.
Anchors away, Kerry. What about fine? Let me leave you with this: a measure in front of lawmakers now on Bacon Hill, your favorite place, that would increase significantly the number of signatures required to get a voter initiative on a ballot. Basically a ballot question. Now, right now, I believe you have to get at least 3% in terms of numbers of what was the total number of people voting in the last gubernatorial race. Okay, so you got to get that 3%. And if you get that, okay, you can get the ballot question on. Now they want it to be 7%. They don't want they want to make it more and more difficult for you to get a ballot question on. What's the rationale?
Oh, because they don't want to be overruled. They don't like how the people come in and say, wait a minute, we think the legislature's gone too far. We have a way through these ballot questions of correcting bad action taken by the legislators, and they don't like being told, look, the Bacon Hill likes telling people what to do, and how to do it, but they don't like anybody else when the people push back. I mean, there's a whole series of ballot initiative bills up there to hurt the ballot initiative process, anywhere from cutting how much people can donate to it, to increasing the number of signatures, to also say that you can't use basically paid gatherers, and that they have to wear some kind of label saying that they're a paid signature gatherer. They've done everything possible to stop our input into the process.
Yeah. I just don't get it. Holly Robichaud, folks, is a Boston Herald columnist. You can reach her by going to WTAG.com. Click on the Jim Police.